All right, welcome back. This is Prep Phase Season 2, Week 2. We're going to be looking over Freelancer United Nation versus Cookie Cutters. I am Septimus, and with me is the caster you love to hate, Mr. Saiyan. So it looks like we've got Cloud Spire as the selected map. The bans are already in with Freelancer United Nation, who from here on out we will be referring to as Fun. Going with Asana and Cookie Cutters, going with Gray as their ban, and then coming up with the Celeste as their first pick.
I am actually happy we don't have a Helio first pick and banned. I don't rate Helio that much, like I've said before.
So, and that's one of the things that, we've got. Helio gets banned a lot, but I think personally he's more of an annoyance than he is an actual threat in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So, and here we go with Fun going ahead and selecting Lockwood in response to that Celeste and picking Aurora as their support.
I do like how teams are now picking the. We have seen, especially in the tournament with the Etheria, is like has just brought Aurora as a top tier pick.
Well, and yeah, I think since Etherea's performance in the tournament last season, Aurora has become a lot more desirable because we didn't see a lot of really top tier play coming from Aurora in the last league. And of course, Cookie Cutters taking their second pick since Gray is off the table. They're opting to go for Nyx as their second firepower.
Pretty standard pick so far. I would like them to take the tank next, but we'll see what happens.
So, and there comes Fun coming out with a Titus pick as their frontliner.
We have seen Titus a lot recently.
I know. Pepper is probably just completely gleeful to see his favorite Lancer, the Pepper Titan and Titus bromance that seems to be going on.
It's definitely a questionable romance, but it is there.
And Cookie Cutters responding with a Rask pick, followed up by Finn. A very strong composition coming from Cookie Cutters today. And Fun still has their final pick. They need to round it out with another firepower, or I suppose if they're feeling lucky, another support or frontliner.
I do hope they don't go for the support, but I wouldn't mind another tank.
I don't believe we've actually seen any games so far in the league that goes with a double frontliner. I may be mistaken in that though.
I do think the Helio pickup for Fun would be actually their best option. They're on Cloudspire. They do have a Titus and a Lockwood. I do believe an Aurora and a Helio playing as a tank would be their best option.
Looks like they were gonna opt for Zuki instead. So final compositions coming out. We have Fun coming in with Lockwood and Zuki as the firepower, Aurora as the support, Titus as the front line, Cookie Cutters coming in with Celeste and Nyx for the firepowers, Rask for the front line, and Finn for their support. And of course, this is on Cloudspire, smallest map available, but has the distinct twist of being the only map rather that has two might buffs available.
Obviously, with Cookie Cutters having the Celeste, they are able to get that might buff relatively safe.
So and
Whereas Freelance United Nation or Fun will have to actually walk up and grab that buff.
right, not to mention that with that Celeste, they do also have the opportunity to deny from a distance on the second turn the might buff from both sides.
I do see the Titus running up buff and then using his dash next turn, but obviously we'll see And I do think they'll probably just give it to Celeste and stay back, allowing the buffs to run out of time.
All right, looks like we are just waiting for everybody to ready up here. So, do you have any predictions? We did just hear that Cookie Cutters actually took a game with Trash to overtime. So, I think that already kind of speaks a lot to how much they've been improving over the recent weeks, like we've been saying. So, I'm really looking forward to see how this map comes out. Of course, Fun, a newer team to the league. Uh, doesn't have quite the experience, but did have a fairly decent performance. Gonna pull those numbers up right now, real quick.
I do have to say that Cookie Cutters does put a lot of time and effort into it. And they during the off season, going from season 1 to season 2, they held tryouts, and we saw at least 20 people turn up to both of them. So it was very good for them to do that, and they did actually pick up Guinness and I believe Why Pretend to put on their main roster.
Oh yeah, and so here it is. So we had Fun actually was the unfortunate new team that had to do their very first match against Trash, and of course posted a quite hilarious video about it on YouTube as soon as they found out. They did go up against Love Bites as their second match though, and it was a split game, ended 1-1 for the tie. So really looking forward to see how they go up against Cookie Cutters here. To see, because to be fair, when one of your very first match in the league is up against Trash, it's kind of a low blow. But unfortunately, sometimes that's just how the seeds work out.
As much as Cookie Cutters improve day in day out and how much they practice, I do think Fun will actually put up a good fight against them. Even though they were against Trash, they did sort of put up a good fight against Trash.
Yeah.
And
So
again, with Love Bites drawing against Love Bites, and we've seen Love Bites is a very good team.
well, yeah, and you definitely don't see it often where Trash gets taken into overtime. So that is just kind of, like I said, a testament to how much they've been improving over the past couple weeks. And of course, here we are on Cloudspire, waiting to see what the first moves are going to be.
I do expect them both to go into either corner. We have seen it a lot, especially today. Although again, I predicted it and I was right, of course, because I'm always right. The Titus actually chose to just run up to the buff, and I guess again, because I'm always right, he will choose to dash into the enemy.
I don't know if he will. There is no vision yet on either side because of the way that they move. We don't even have last movement markers, so a blind dash probably not the best idea here. Of course, we do see, I'm going to guess a double bubble being thrown on the Wiper 10, the trap coming out from Nyx to catch anybody moving in. The enemy team is on the other side, having pretty much the same idea, throwing out a Lockwood trap, and a big one catching that slow on Guinness, providing the first real vision, and Guinness responding with that double claw, grabbing a Might and catching Legion with the other one. He was trying to snatch both Mites off the field, but one had a person on them.
I do like why Pretend just running up and trying to get the vision that he needs for his team. He can actually see the Zuki, so he knows where the Zuki is, and he probably has a good understanding of where the rest of the team is.
So he is a little bit out further than the rest of his team can really reach. So we got Legion throwing a dagger on him. A Paralaser coming out to provide a little bit of shielding for the team. Guinness throwing a few smoke bombs out to prevent cover. Kochi doing a shot to White Pretend, also popping that dagger. And we got Zafner throwing those sticky bombs on him, which also are giving the weakened debuff. Guinness sticking around in that big one, also taking some damage from the outer ring of that. And then catching a little bit of health from those smoke bombs.
Yeah, overall it was a pretty standard round, just trying to get as much damage. Although it didn't take much damage because obviously of the double bubble.
So it looks like we're probably going to see some of the real action coming around here. Wiper 10 preparing with that turtle tech. Remney doing a spray to catch Legion. And Lava Cookie doing a shot, hitting Kochi. Guinness also aiming for Kochi with that minded double claw, doing huge damage, bringing Kochi down to only 38 health. Kochi doing a shot while a death box gets thrown down there too. Looks like they are going to focus on Rask with 3 members there hitting Why Pretend, while he does a knockback on both Inepti and Zafner there. It looks like they were expecting that dash from Why Pretend, so there was a lot of focus there where nobody was actually standing.
Yeah, and Lockwood really low. It looks like I do believe that if Remni actually chooses to go to left and try and cut off, they can actually get Fun actually in the corner and punish them in the corner.
And there goes Legion doing a hit on the Guinness. Zafner going to join in and shoot a rocket his way as well. Of course, he is going to respond with a double claw at Zafner. Also going to take a little bit of damage from Aurora there. And now everybody's going to move in. We're just seeing everybody kind of sticking to this one side here. And of course, Kochi stuck out a little bit with that low health.
Yeah, again, just pretty much a standard game that you see every day. Not much is really happening, but at the same time, a lot is happening. I do think Guinness will be dashing out this turn to get away. It does seem like Guinness is actually going in.
And there goes Kochi with the Turtle Tech. Also going to get a big 40 heal from Inepti. We got Why Pretend and Guinness both dashing in, which is going to cause Kochi's spray and pray to completely miss. Lava Cookie with the pierce shot, hitting both Kochi and Legion there, and a rocket missing because of those dashes as well. Although we're going to have Guinness getting knocked back from that heal that was on Kochi there, who is already back just above half health.
Guinness is actually in a really bad position. His support is too far away to offer assistance, so he's either going to have to stay here or actually catalyst out.
Right, looks like we got him dropping a trap there. We got Zuki jumping out. Zafner going to safety to join Kochi over there. Remni doing a spray to catch Legion for cover damage. Kochi doing a bounce shot to hit Guinness. Looks like Guinness is taking all sorts of damage here. Legion then doing an attack on Lava Cookie. Guinness throwing out the smoke to catch Inepti. And Inepti then taking a swipe from Why Pretend. And also a Vortex round from Lava Cookie there. Guinness in a real bad spot with only 12 health after walking through that smoke to give herself another 10.
I did actually expect Guinness to go down this round, so it is actually good that he managed to stay alive. Lava Cookie is now a little bit out of position, but I don't think they'll be able to do enough damage to take her down this turn.
Well, there we go, Lava Cookie with the Turtle Tech, expecting all that damage to come in. We got Rimney throwing a bubble on the Guinness, trying to make sure that they survive this round. Inepti doing a Paralaser to weaken both Rask and Celeste. And of course, that dagger going on the Lava Cookie. And there we go, Why Pretend doing a swipe, hitting Inepti, who's also going to catch a double dagger from Celeste. Lava Cookie doing a pierce shot in both Legion and Zafner, and then taking all sorts of damage, leaving her with only 5 health after being hit from 3 members of the enemy team. That Turtle Tech certainly saved their life there.
Lava Cookie is actually invisible. Do you think anyone will actually take a pot look to try and get Lava Cookie?
I think with them only having 5 health, just taking a wild shot might be worth it, but at this point they've got 3 other targets to pick from, and Guinness is over there in the bush, but still with incredibly low health themselves. Zafner going to take that big 40 heal, And here comes Raz taunting a heal, which wasn't necessarily needed as they're already at full health. But here comes that Zuki ultimate. Looks like it is through walls. And Legion gonna catch a double claw. Wiper 10 taking a shot, while also Kochi's gonna take some damage from a Celeste trap, and as well as a spray from Rimney, who is also gonna catch Zafner in that. Legion then going to use his ultimate just on Lava Cookie, who is already being targeted by that Zuki ult, along with Wiper 10's and Rimney. Wiper 10 then taking out and dropping his ultimate, leaving Kochi with only 1 health, but then does a swipe to finish him off. Both teams getting a kill that turn. A lot of ultimates wasted on Lava Cookie, though. I would call that probably a win for Cookie Cutters that round, even though they both lost one.
That is true. I do think the Zuki ultimate was good. Obviously, the Titus, he did have his dash up. He shouldn't have ulted. He probably should have just took a potluck. If it didn't work, try and guess next turn by dashing in to try and get lava.
And Wiper 10 and Legion both doing a dash. Legion gonna catch some damage from a double claw from Guinness. We got Rimney doing a spray, only hitting an empty. Zafner shooting a rocket, catching Wiper 10 because of the dash. And here comes that Aurora ult, finishing off Celeste to put Fun up 2-1.
I didn't expect Fun to take the early game. I know Cookie Cutters has been trying to improve their early game. Obviously, not every time it goes in your favor, but we do see now that Fun, they're all on half health really, although saying that Cookie Cutters are on half health themselves. Cookie Cutters are in a really bad position right now.
Yeah, and you can see that with all the turtle techs being thrown up by Fun. They're low on health themselves. Wiper 10's gonna catch a dagger. And there goes the trap from Lockwood out there to try and catch anybody walking around. Rimney's going to catch some damage from that box of doom. Zafner's going to shoot a rocket and pop a dagger on Wiper 10, leaving him at quite low health. And here comes Rimney with the Fin ult, launching it onto both Legion and Inepti, pulling them right into Wiper 10's swipe range. Of course, Wiper 10 going to walk through that Lockwood trap and take a death, putting Fun up 3-1. Really kind of a surprise here to see Cookie Cutters taken down so early. They do have a very strong second half game, so I'm wondering if they're going to be able to pull this back around.
I do think they'll be able to pull it back around because they're in an amazing position for the Knicks to ult them both.
Inepti using their catalyst to get out of that Nyx ult, which catches both Kochi and Legion. Lava Cookie does catch a rocket, and Rimney catching damage from both Lockwood and Legion here, although some behind cover damage, leaving him at 33 health. He's then going to turn around and spray both Kochi and Legion, leaving Legion with only 11 health left for the turn.
Legion really low health. Does have his catalyst, but he is next to the Aurora. So it does look like the Aurora will have to heal herself, keeping Remney back there, and hopefully the Titus will stay alive to take out Remney's turn.
And there we got Inepti choosing to heal themselves while Rimney throws a bubble on himself. Guinness dropping a trap. Looks like he's putting it right on that might buff, and several catalysts coming out here. Kochi going to catch some damage from Lava Cookie, and here comes Guinness with the ultimate, catching Inepti, bringing them down to 28 health with the help of a little bubble damage. Kochi doing a bounce shot into Lava Cookie, and of course, we got Rimney there getting knocked back because of Inepti's heal on themselves.
Inepti doesn't have catalyst and is in a very bad position. Cookie Cutters are almost likely to get the kill this turn, as well as Wiper 10 being in the middle of Koshi and Legion on very low health themselves. I do believe Cookie Cutters could actually bring this back.
And there goes Rimney catching a dagger. Inepti's gonna do a paralaser onto Guinness to weaken him, but he is still gonna catch a double claw from him before Guinness takes a rocket himself coming off of Zafner. Zafner then going to take a little bit of damage from Rimney's spray. Kochi opting to use his second win this turn.
I am going to ask, why would Inepti choose to go for the might buff instead of trying to put herself in a better position? Guinness, just an easy predict, and was able to put a trap down to actually kill Inepti without them having to do anything this turn.
Yeah, and here we go. Zafner throwing out that big one, going to slow both Rimney and Guinness. Legion dashing away while Rimney uses their Catalyst, and Kochi does dash as well. And there goes Inepti dying simply because of that trap there. While Guinness throws out some smoke bombs, and Y-Pretend activates his ultimate and swipes at nothing. Zafner did take some damage from those smoke bombs, and Lava Cookie missing their shot completely because of all the dashes going down that turn.
Yeah, it looks like Koshi does have his ultimate very low health. Legion again is also on very low health. I wonder if Y-Pretend will dash down there and get Legion this turn. After taking out Legion, obviously Zafna is on very low health, so Cookie Cutters could simply take out Legion and swoop back around and try and take out the Zuki.
And there goes Legion healing himself up for 5 and weakening Rimney there. Guinness, of course, dashing out, catching Legion. Kochi uses his ultimate just on Rimney. And Zafner catching a Vortex around there, leaving him with only 13 health. And shooting a rocket off, catching Rimney. And Legion looks like he's going to finish it off, catching 5 more health, which saves himself. He almost died there if it wasn't for that one hit. That brings Fun up 4-2 against Cookie Cutters.
And Legion actually has his ultimate this turn. Although it is quite obvious that Legion will be going down this turn.
But here's the kicker. He has Battle Rage on his ultimate, so he does extra damage for every 7% health he's missing, which is pretty much all of it. So, and this is going to be pretty much a max damage ultimate coming out of Legion this turn.
Steal yourself, or I'll do it for you.
And here it comes. Catching only Guinness, but for 49 damage before he goes down. Kochi gonna top that off with a spray and pray, leaving Guinness very low. Guinness gonna respond with that double claw into Kochi. And Guinness is living, but only barely, with health in the low teens.
Hopefully Y-Pretend can try and sniff out Zafna to try and take him down soon. He should know that Zafna's in around that area. Obviously, Guinness, he does have his Catalyst, so he should be able to get out this turn.
So there goes Kochi dropping a trap, trying to prevent an escape. Guinness gonna opt to Catalyst out. Would have died to that Aurora shot, but because of the Catalyst, it was missed. Zafner gonna reveal himself with a rocket at Y-Pretend. And Rimney doing a spray, just hoping to catch Zafner, who is now surrounded by both Rimney and Lava Cookie. I think that pretty much spells the end for Zafner there.
Zafna, he will be going down this turn, but if he ults, he will be going down with a bang. He won't go down. He will go down fighting. Hopefully, Guinness. I do hope that Guinness somehow survives. I am hoping for that, but I highly doubt it.
And here comes Guinness taking a box of death, killing him. And Rimney doing a spray but missing. We got Kochi who used his Catalyst. Guinness does survive by using second wind. Lava Cookie takes down Zuki with a shot to the face. Y-Pretend also missing that knockback because of the Catalyst. And of course, Guinness staring death in the face with Legion standing right next to him. Turn 20, 4-4.
Turn 20, Guinness has no escapes. Their only hope now is to try and take someone down, which I highly doubt, and it doesn't look like they're able to do.
Yeah, and this is that strong second game we were talking about that tends to come out of cookie cutters here. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to save them this time around. They just fell a little bit too far behind. Kochi taking damage from both Rimney and White Pretend. Rimney then going to take a shot to the face. Guinness going to survive another turn. Except Inepti's going to drop that Aurora ultimate onto him, finishing him off, allowing Fun to take this one 5-4 on turn 20.
Back to the drawing board.
Honestly, I did not expect that. But congratulations, Fun.
Yeah, definitely congratulations to Fun. Definitely good to see one of the newer teams coming in and button heads up against one of the more experienced teams. Cookie Cutters definitely didn't quite get the best start off there, but was able to pull it around for the second half, but unfortunately were just a little bit too far behind to turn it into the win that they were looking for.
Definitely, and every number is good for both teams.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a clear MVP out of this batch. I would say I'd have to give it to Guinness, even though he lost there doing top damage and just pulled some amazing escapes there out at the end. Unfortunately, ended up standing right next to Legion, who was able to take him out. I don't believe if Aurora hadn't moved into the position that she had, this could have gone a different way.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it could go either way. Throughout the whole game, actually, it was a very close game, and I'm extremely happy with both teams' performance for once.
Right, let's take a look here. Looks like we're going to be popping off to check out the second match here. And
I'm gonna kill them all.
right, yeah, looks like both teams are just throwing GGs to each other. They both know it was a good game.
It was definitely a good game.
So yeah, I think these two teams are very well matched against each other. You know, we have Cookie Cutters, very experienced team. Came in, unfortunately, got knocked out in the first round of the tournament, but are showing a very strong performance here this season. And then we have Fun, who's coming in, brand new team. Fortunately, one of their first games was up against Trash, but did do a split the second match when they went up against Love Bites, which is another new team that's been showing a lot of promise this time around. In fact, we
Yeah,
saw.
definitely.
Yeah.
And every team, no matter what I say about a team, I will always say it knowing you can improve. Like every team has, we're still week 2. Every team that is playing and carries on playing has a chance to be in a tournament.
So yeah, we do have, what is it? It's still the top 6 go to the tournament. Of course, we had that announcement the other night, accidental, somewhat. Uh,
Somewhat
somewhat leak, where we are going to have 4 teams now. The 4 top teams, so 4 out of 6 teams are going to be getting a prize in this season's tournament. So all the more where even if you don't think you're good enough to become number 1, if you can still get up to number 4, you got a chance to walk away with a prize.
Definitely. We also, as well as a Rask plushie, we have a Pup plushie. I'm joking, don't take it serious.
Well, there is a pup plushie. We just don't have one. It's
we,
still in the
we don't have
prototype
one to give
phase.
away.
Although I really want to see them make a Rask plushie
I do,
because
I do think it would look interesting, to say the least. But like I said, every team, we're still in week 2. Like, I may have been a little bit harsh and I'll publicly say sorry for that. But no matter what I say, it's only because I believe you will get better. I do think honesty is the best policy. And if I'm honest and say you need to improve, Just improve. Every team has a shot. Every team has a chance to beat trash. Like Seabell said in the interview 2 games ago, treat every team like you're playing trash and just do your hardest. Practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to improve. But if you do practice, you are obviously going to improve. You're going to have a shot and a chance at every team in this league.
Yes, and you know, on top of that, with what Mr. Sands is saying, you know, he does have the reputation of being brutally honest. So I hope some people don't take offense to it when he just comes out and speaks his mind, because that's just
I
kind of.
will be honest and I will tell you how it is, but I will always believe in a team. No team, I will say that a team is bad only because it's still the start of the season and I don't think you're improving that much, but you are improving week in, week out. Like, just practice, get better, prove me wrong. Whatever I say, if I say your team is bad, come back next week, practice, prove me wrong. That's what I want to see. That's what I enjoy seeing. I enjoy teams proving me wrong on every bad thing I say. I want teams to just look at me and be like, hey, you idiot, you're wrong.
So, all right, looks like we got the drafting booting up here. Home team is selecting the map. I believe home team this time around is going to be Cookie Cutters. Though I could be wrong on that. Yeah, looks like it was Cookie Cutters is home. They selected Flyaway Freighter. So we are just waiting on Fun to pick their ban, which they have opted to take Asana as the ban, as opposed to the standard Rask frontline ban. So interesting choice, I think, here. Although this isn't the first time we've seen it so far this season. And
I
Cookie.
do agree with it though. I do think Asana is, that ban is definitely justified.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, as it is, there's two top tier frontliners, Asana and Rask. So either one of those as a ban is a good choice, especially if you're going to be able to snatch the other one up for yourself. Cookie Cutters, of course, coming in responding with Gray as their ban. I have the suspicion that Cookie Cutters is going to take Gray as a ban more often than not, because I know Lava Cookie is a hardcore Nyx player. So I would actually you know, like to see Fun notice things like this and come in and steal Nyx away from Cookie Cutters.
Mm.
So Fun, of course, taking Lockwood as their first pick, always a good one. Cookie Cutters responding with Aurora and looking for their second one now. Like a little bit of deliberation going on about this one here.
You're definitely thinking about it.
And there comes the Celeste for Cookie Cutters. So, and here's where things get a little interesting about halfway through after those first couple picks.
Yeah, teams are starting
So,
to form.
and
The
there.
Titus comes out again.
All right, I actually really like seeing Titus, and he's really showing a strength as whenever we see a frontliner ban, and sometimes even without a frontliner ban, Titus is coming out and really starting to kind of flex as this really strong frontliner choice for a lot of these top tier teams. And of course, Cookie Cutter snatching that Nyx up. Of course, with Lava Cookie being really preferring to play Nyx when she can. We're pretty much seeing Cookie Cutters. I think that's the one tell they have, is when you're playing against Cookie Cutters with Lava Cookie on there, you're probably going to see them go for Nyx pretty quickly.
Well, you heard it here first, ban Nyx.
Of course, Fun coming in with a strong third pick, Dr. Finn.
Freelancer United Nation already do have quite a strong team, but saying that Cookie Cutters again have a very strong team. I'm surprised that the Rask is still up there. Or do Fun believe that Titus is actually the better of the two.
Well, it may be a situation to where they're expecting the ban rask so often that they don't even bother taking him into account with their compositions.
That's definitely true because Helio has been up for quite a while.
And there we go, taking their Zuki. They definitely seem to like Zuki picks here. Of course, Cookie Cutter's looking over their last. They do need a frontliner. I'm pretty much expecting Rast to be that pick. Could be a surprise here, though.
I would like to see a Rampart, honestly. I do think against
Well,
their team.
I believe Rimney, if I'm not mistaken, actually plays Rampart quite a bit. I believe it was somebody from Cookie Cutters actually plays Rampart as one of their primaries.
The Garrison, I am very happy about the Garrison.
Oh, and there we are, Garrison pick. So
Teams look very strong between them. There's no here and there. They both look equally strong.
but I just realized I didn't have the web page up that entire time. Apologize about that, everybody. But here you are. Take a look. We got Flyaway Freighter as the map. Freelancer, United Nation, or Fun coming in with Lockwood and Zuki as their firepower. Titus frontline. Finn as their support, while Cookie Cutters comes in taking Celeste and Nyx as their firepowers. Garrison as their frontline, and of course Aurora as their support. We had Gray and Asana banned for this game.
Strong team for both. This could go either way.
And I think Cookie Cutter is definitely going to try and pull back and regroup. I don't think they were expecting that last game to go the way it did. So they're probably going to come back and definitely come in with a stronger offense this time around.
Definitely. I do think they didn't give much credit to Fun, but they definitely regret that, and they will come back stronger this game.
So based just off the composition, I think this is kind of a tough one to call, really. Like you said, it's very close. We got Cookie Cutters has several comfort picks. Like I mentioned, Lava Cookie probably going to be on that Nyx there. We do see them with Celeste quite a bit as well. Fun, it's a little harder to call since they're a newer team, but they do have several strong picks just right off the bat. Lockwood and Finn both. And, like we mentioned, Titus becoming a really strong frontline choice, especially for teams that would like to use him kind of as a firepower hybrid.
Yeah, going by the composition alone, I can't get. I do believe if Zafna didn't play Zuki and played someone else, it would be a lot stronger
4,
team.
3, 2.
Well, and sometimes it just kind of boils down to those comfort picks. Especially if other Lancers that he prefers are, being taken by the other team. He may not have any other choice but then go with one that he knows he would perform better on, as opposed to trying to play a Lancer there that he's just not comfortable with.
Personally, I'm rooting for Cookie Cutters, but I honestly can't tell you who has the advantage or who will win. This right now is anyone's game.
So yeah, especially after what we saw the last game, Fun, like we mentioned before, did do a tie game with Love Bites last week. Also, as mentioned, their other game was against Trash, who, of course, has that reputation for not losing and whatnot. So they walked away with a loss on that one, but they did tie against Love Bites, who has been pretty much, I want to say, tied up with Cookie Cutters as well. So several teams at a very even level coming against here. Or coming against each other, rather.
Yeah, this will definitely be a very interesting game. Just look like.
Your team is ready.
Oh, there we go.
All right, looks like we've got Fun is on the left blue side, while Cookie Cutter's on the right hand or red side. So on Flyaway this time, a direct inverse of what was going on that first match, which was on Cloudspire. So they went from the smallest map to the largest. Looks like both teams are heading up towards that love tunnel up there. Of course, only 2 members of Cookie Cutter really putting themselves as a see-through there. Still no vision from either side, though.
I do want to ask, how did the name come about?
What name?
The Love Tunnel.
I have no idea. But, I mean, I actually used to call it the Tunnel of Love, but then somebody, I guess, you know, or somebody probably around the same time started calling it the Love Tunnel. Love Tunnel stuck because it's quicker to say, but it just seems to be that one spot where everybody likes to meet up and, you know, just show each other some love.
Yeah. Very standard early game
Yeah, everybody heading up toward
rounds.
that north
Yeah.
side. I really like that Lava Cookie moved to just the right square to avoid that trap. I don't know if that was luck, but that was a good move right there for sure.
Definitely. Maybe predicted it. I want to say that she did predict it, but who knows?
Because, yeah, there is...
Garrison, 3 teams are thinking. I do want to see, and I'm going to check, which I can't. I do hope he has the root. I do believe the root mod is the best mod for Garrison. I just absolutely love
Alright,
it.
here comes the jump. About to find out, and there is the root. Of course, Guinness did catch a dagger from, I believe it was Legion. Spray and pray there, catching Rimney only, while Zafner going to hit Wiper 10 with a rocket before catching both Lava Cookie and Guinness with the outer ring of that. Wiper 10 also going to get 3 rockets out to everybody, while Guinness is going to get healed up from that Aurora Basic. And Lava Cookie with that piercing shot hitting both Zafner and Inepti. And of course, Lava Cookie look like she walked right through that trap, leaving herself with only 46 health.
Yeah, very low for Lava Cookie. And I don't believe she's in a very good position right now because Legion's on one side and Finn and Lockwood are on the other. She's in a very tight situation here, and I wonder how she will deal with it.
And I'm not sure what happened there. May have been a misclick, but I think she may have not noticed that was an extended trap for some reason and ended up walking right through the edge of it. And then we had Guinness dodging out of there along with Legion missing because of that. Wiper 10 taking a double hit on Inepti and Kochi. Both of them are going to focus on Lava Cookie, leaving Lava with only 18 health. Lava responds with a Vortex round, hitting both Inepti and Kochi as well.
Although Lava Cookie is very low, she didn't actually respond by doing massive amounts of damage to the Finn and the Lockwood. I do believe that Garrison should have moved up 1 square so that it's not doing cover damage. But apart from that, pretty standard round. Good round overall.
It looks like Lava Cookie activating that Turtle Tech. Guinness throwing out that Double Claw to Kochi. Zafner then hitting White Pretend with a rocket. Kochi doing a bounce shot to Lava Cookie, leaving her incredibly low. And a double hit coming out from White Pretend on Kochi and Inepti. While Legion then takes a hit onto Rimney. Rimney throws a death box, catching Zafner. And I believe healing White Pretend up for 8.
Yeah, very good round. Like, not much you can say. Very standard damage to who you can. Lava Cookie going quite low, but does look like she's managing to escape. Probably trying to get as much energy for her ult so she can come back in and deal massive amounts of damage.
There we go with the Nepti activating that Turtle Tech. Rimney throwing out the Paralaser with Unstoppable, it appears. Legion doing his shout for a week and a little bit of healing. Zafner's going to dash out along with Kochi dashing as well. And Nepti putting some eels onto Guinness, who's going to respond with the double claw, but only for cover damage. Wiper 10 with the hand rocket hitting Nepti. And Legion doing damage to both Rimney and Guinness, but Guinness only caught some cover damage from it.
Inepti extremely caught out, but does have the bubble, does have the catalyst, so he is safe. Lava Cookie walking towards that health, just
just taking time to heal up and staying out of the fight for now. She does also have the range to, you know, take pot shots here and then from relative safety. It's like Inepti throwing that bubble on themselves. Guinness going to throw a trap out at the far north to keep anybody from escaping, and then going to do a double claw on Inepti, who's also going to take a hit from Garrison. Legion going to do a shot onto Guinness, and we got Kochi doing a spray and pray, hitting two members of the enemy team. Zafner then taunting his rocket, coming in to finish off Guinness and doing more damage to Wiper 10, who's also going to take some more damage from that bubble. Alright, looks like Lava Cookie already back up to 44 health. We've got Kochi and Zafner both standing in that Celeste trap on the right side here. Of course, Zafner does have his ultimate ready. And Wiper 10 kind of caught out, surrounded by the entire enemy team there. And Rimney not really in a position to help. Does look like they can reach him with that heal, just barely though. Lava Cookie going in Viz. Zafner dropping that ultimate, going to be hitting Wiper 10.
Artillery barrage inbound.
Wiper 10 and Rimney, both of them for 51 damage. Kochi and Zafner both taking Celeste trap damage. Wiper 10 also catching a bounce shot and damage from Legion there. Kochi and Legion. While Gary is going to pull in his ultimate to Zafner and Kochi, and of course rockets to three members of the enemy team before that heal thrown on him knocks Legion back, keeping him in place. He does then move into the health bubbles, bringing him back up to 31 health.
hello.
Yep. Can you talk now?
I don't know what's going on with Discord. Very sorry about that.
Not a problem. Alright, so we got Zafter throwing up that big one there. Doing a slow onto Rimney. Kochi throwing out a trap, keeping Wiper 10 in place, but he's just going to jump on out of it, landing on Legion and rooting him. Legion going to use his ultimate, hitting Rimney and Lava Cookie. Although Rimney is going to throw out that box of death onto Inepti, who's also going to catch a shot from Lava Cookie, killing him. Maybe he has the heal on this. It does look like he does, but it's not enough, and we got Rimney landing right in the middle of that big one.
Do you think she would catalyst out or just take the death? Legion is in a very good position. Can he get both? Oh, he does have his dash, so he is able to get both of them. It does look like Wiper 10 and Remney, unless they both decide to dash out, will die this turn.
I would assume that they would try to get out at the moment the game is tied. But, you know, Aurora does have that ultimate, which might save them both. Well, actually, not with her being in the middle of the big one. So, yeah, dashing out's really the only good option. We do have Kochi using his ultimate on Lava Cookie. Lots of dashes all around there. Looks like they did Catalyst out of that big one, so it hits nobody. Zafner doing a rocket, trying to finish him off, but it also hits no one because of the dashes. Zafner taking Lava Cookie's ultimate, leaving him with only 10 health. So many people with like 10% health or less here.
There's so many people low, so many picks, but who can get the most picks in one turn?
It looks like, yeah, it looks like Cookie Cutters has the worst of it with 3 members of their team at about 10%. Only 2 of the other team. 3 catalysts going off there, people moving out of the way. Rimney activating their ultimate. finishing off Zuki there and healing up some of her team, also dealing some damage to Legion. Inepti doing a spray, but not catching anyone. Legion attacking Rimney, popping a dagger as well, making the game tie up at 2-2.
I do think Zafna should have realized that the Aurora is low and she does have a ult. It's pretty obvious she will ult. So just get out of there and try and go to a better position than where you're going. Lava Cookie again actually she was safe and actually chose the Catalyst to what seems like get in the game and try get some damage. But again, I don't know why she would Catalyst where she did.
I'll take the fight to you.
Right, here comes Legion dashing in to hit Wiper 10, bringing him down to the teens. Don't believe he knows, but he did dash into a Celeste trap. Also going to eat a hand cannon from Garrison. Here comes Lava Cookie with the Vortex round, hitting Inepti and Kochi, who are both also going to take an ultimate, along with Legion coming from Guinness.
A lot of damage in Koshi actually staying alive. Garrison in the middle of the map, very low health. This is a very good game.
Yeah, both
I
teams
enjoy every round.
Yeah, both teams playing very well against each other. Just seeming like barely able to keep the other team from securing the kills, but at the same time, it's happening to them as well. We got Legion doing a shout there to weaken Wiper 10. Kochi gonna dash out of the fight, or out of range rather. Wiper 10's rockets going off to hit Legion and Inepti. Guinness doing that double dagger on the Legion with Might, who's also going to take a punch from Wiper 10. Not to mention that trap set by Guinness. And we got Lava Cookie taking a shot to Inepti, but Legion is going to finish Garrison off, bringing it up 3-2 in favor of Fun. They have pulled ahead again.
This game can still go anyway. This is one of the most exciting matches I've ever watched. Legion is really low. Lava Cookie is actually in the enemy team, but no one knows where she is.
And we have Legion popping his turtle tech. Zafner throwing out a big one, which catches nobody. They were looking for Nyx. Kochi's throwing out a trap, probably trying to do the same thing. And Nepti gonna take a shot from Lava Cookie. Also spraying, trying to find Nyx. Lava Cookie gets missed by all of them. We got a box going out from Aurora. Hits Legion, who's also gonna catch some smoke damage from Guinness. Looks like Lava Cookie was able to avoid that trap, but does end up in the outer ring of the big one.
I do think Inepti should have done the wide spray. I do think that was the better option. I know that he was trying to get as much damage as possible, but if you're guessing, just try and do the wide shot. Legion and Inepti is still low. Legion's been low for quite a long time now.
Alright, we got Lava Cookie throwing out a trap to try and catch someone, and Nepti, though, with the Catalyst does not activate it. Rimney takes some rocket damage from Zafner, that big one coming in to deal damage to Lava Cookie, leaving her in the teens. Guinness throwing out a double claw to snag up that Energize, but doesn't catch anybody for damage. Rimney going to catch some health from the box, and everybody moving all around.
5 turns left.
Looks like at this... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know he was going for the help. I think he should have catalyst into that position. He's now caught out, and Cookie Cutters now have the chance to actually get back into the fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like they're pulling back, but of course Inepti got stuck out there. Lava Cookie then catching a heal from Rimney. Guinness dropping a trap on the enemy side, while Wiper 10 jumps in and roots them both in the trap, both Zafner and Kochi. Zafner going to get a 3-person sticky bomb, I believe it was. And then spray and pray from Kochi catching 2 people. Inepti going to put the eels on Lava Cookie, keep her revealed. And doesn't look like that trap got activated just because it was positioned a little bit off.
Yeah, and Inepti's staying alive again. But the Garrison does have his ultimate. He should be using it. This is perfect ultimate. If a team was going to get ahead. This is the turn where cookie cutters could actually win the game from.
So, and here we go with the Turtle Tech on Zafner and Kochi. Wiper 10 activated his rockets. We got some healing coming in from Inepti on both Zafner and Kochi. Rimney doing that Paralaser to weaken everybody on that side. There goes the trap doing Zafner and Kochi for 24 each. A rocket going out to hit Lava Cookie. Rimney taking a shot from Kochi. We got those eels being transferred over to Rimney, who also, and Guinness, taking damage from the sticky bomb before. And of course, there goes that Garrison 3-man ultimate. Lava Cookie doing a piercing shot to finish off Dr. Finn. Kochi and Zafner at incredibly low health here. But the same could be said about a couple members of the enemy team as well.
Lava Cookie still alive after all this time. They finally managed to take down Inepti, and now Kochi is very sorry about that. I wonder if Lava Cookie would try and go for Legion even though he has dash.
It looks like Kochi and Zafner are both dashing out. We did have Legion dash into Lava Cookie, who whiffs her ultimate because of all the dashes. Rimney, of course, missing with the box as well. We got a split shot from Guinness picking up that might, and then everybody moves in. Fun has brought it ahead once again, 4-3.
Although Lava Cookie's gone down, Remney, oh no, the Finn does have the bubble. This is looking actually bad for Cookie Cutters right now.
Don't forget about Zafner over in the corner. I know it's only Wiper 10 on him, but that's another low health person that they have the potential to take out. And here it is, like you called it, Inepti throwing that bubble on the Legion, trying to keep them alive. Got a shot from Kochi hitting Rimney, who's going to respond with just a basic attack. Zafner in the corner using that second wind. Legion then going to use his ultimate, hitting both Rimney and Guinness for huge numbers. And of course, Wiper 10 taking a shot. And there it is, taking out Lockwood from Guinness using that ultimate. But now they're both in serious trouble in the middle.
Remney and Guinness just lined up for the Titus. Although Guinness does have his dash and Remney does have his heal, I don't think this should have been just walking towards. It seems like the teams are getting desperate now, so they're making very silly mistakes.
I mean, this could go either way. One hit from Wiper 10 onto Zafner could also tie this up, even if both of them die. Of course, Rimney throwing that heal onto himself to keep them alive. We got a trap coming out from Nyx, a trap coming out from Guinness. And there goes that weakened shout off of Legion. Guinness, of course, just dashing out of there, but the Nyx trap was from his same team. Zafner then shooting a rocket out through the tunnel. Wiper 10 punching him in the face, staying alive from that second wind. And Nepti doing a spray onto Rimney, who's also going to catch a hit from Legion. Stays alive with 7 health and knocks Legion back with that heal.
Remney very low, but does now have ult. Zafner also has ults to respond for it. This might go into overtime. It is in overtime. This might keep being in overtime. I do think this isn't the end.
I mean, they both got the option to just... It could continue to be tied for several more rounds here. There goes Inepti with the heal up on Legion. We've got Kochi throwing a trap out, hoping to catch somebody. Zafner using that ultimate. Looks like it's only going to catch Lava Cookie, who's almost at full health. Ribney taking a death from a death. Wiper 10 taking Zafner down to 11 health. Of course, Lava Cookie taking 54 damage from that ultimate. Ribney using their ultimate, saving their life and healing up their team. Doing a little damage too. Inepti taking smoke bomb damage there. And here comes that rocket finishing off. He did it! He did it! We got Cookie Cutters.
Taste the win.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. That was amazing. I can't even speak.
I have to say, I think Wiper 10 might have taken the MVP there with that that clutch win. And of course, his
That was
Garrison.
Garrison. I love Garrison, and his Rockets win the game. Oh wow!
Well, and the
Just
thing
wow.
is,
That was a fantastic
he
match.
took just the right mod. If he had any other mod on his Rockets, they would not have taken that win because it would have only done 10 damage.
I'm sorry. I was on the edge of my seat, and I am still speechless. That was one of the best games I have ever witnessed in this league so far.
And just look at some of the damage numbers. I mean, you've got two members of Cookie Cutters, both with their damage around 650 or more. Just incredible damage output from both Garrison and Celeste. Why Pretend and Guinness just really cranking that damage out. Nyx, of course, had to be on the run for a little bit, only able to put out 350, and Remney putting out almost 400 in healing. Yeah, on the other team, you had Inepti with his AoE heals and the bubble, able to put out 466 healing. While the rest of their team putting out somewhere around 450 in damage, except for Kochi, putting out 367. Just incredible plays. These teams were very well matched. It was a clutch game all the way to the end.
Like it's honestly still speechless. One of the best games I've seen. Both teams putting up one of the best games I've ever seen, and I can guess a lot of people as well. Cookie Cut is coming out fantastically. Fun, the underdog team, actually putting up such a brilliant fight. Legion on the Titus has shown that Titus is not to be reckoned with. He's good. He's very, very good.
Well, not to mention that this is the second game that Fun has done a split on, showing that they have the ability. They just need a little bit more practice to take them over the top, because they do have the ability to win. And as we've seen here, they have the ability to basically butt heads with one of the veteran teams here in the league and really make them just do their damnedest to try and pull that win out. Cookie Cutters barely pulled it out. Like I said, clutch game right there at the end. I wasn't even sure who was going to win until that very last second when I saw that rocket pop out.
Yeah, very good game. I'm gonna try and get Why Pretend.
Of course you want the
Here just
Garrison
now.
for an interview. Of course you do. So what I have to say, there were some people, even in the chat, saying, you know, Garrison's not viable. Why would you pick Garrison over Rask? And I think right there, that win, because of Garrison, and not to mention Garrison's damage numbers, just insane here. 708 total contribution.
Okay, it does look like we're bringing in Guinness.
Guinness,
So
all
I will
right.
bring him over now. Hello.
Hi, Guinness here reporting for Cookie Cutters to do some interview thing.
Guinness, how are you today?
Well, it's thank you, Mr. Cyan, for inviting me. I'm gonna kind of ignore the other guy who doesn't like to interview our team.
Honestly, I will say I
What
did
is-
want
what is
Why
it?
Pretend because he
Septic-
was playing the
Septi-
Garrison.
something? Septimus, right?
Yeah.
Don't be salty. There was a miscommunication last time. We are more than
Twice.
happy to interview you. Twice.
We didn't get interviewed for either the first or second game last week.
Hashtag blame Saiyan.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna blame someone else. But here we are representing today.
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm not gonna lie, did want Why Pretend, but you can answer the question. Garrison winning the game on the Rockets. How does your team feel about that?
Oh, we feel that Why Pretend carries us through everything. He's amazing. He's my idol. I want to be like him when I grow younger. You know, that kind of thing.
I don't, but okay. So overall, how do you think your team performed?
We performed like shit. We performed poorly in our first match. We performed poorly in our second match. We nearly beat Trash, but we still performed like shit. And then in these games that you got to saw, we lost to a team we thought we'd beat, and then we managed to misplay horribly that it took right until the end to take an advantage. We played like shit today, and everybody knows it, and everybody admits it. I was actually thinking of joining another team today, but we won our last one, so I don't have to carry through with my threat.
So you guys, well, and that's part of what makes you guys, a great team is the fact that you're willing to admit when you know you're playing poorly. You're not looking for an excuse. You know that you need to improve in certain situations. What is it exactly that you guys really think that you need to improve on?
We can tell you the basics. The first couple games we had the issue where we were more so splitting up to function a similar way how Trash does. They tend to isolate areas so that they can still focus on one player, and we isolated areas but did not have the reach to focus on one player at the same time. Whereas in our later games, um, let's just say I could point fingers at every single person on the team and say, this is stupid, such as Cookie walked through a trap that had been there the previous turn, going, oh, it's a long trap. And I dashed into an attack that I thought, oh, well, there's no way I'm gonna get that attack there. And then I missed a person on a dash, and then Why Pretend carried us through the last game, but the game before with Rask, he was bitching and moaning about how he should have moved somewhere else, and this, that, and the other thing. We had a whole bunch of fuck ups.
Okay,
Wait,
how
I'm
do you
allowed to swear on YouTube, right? That's okay.
No.
No, but let's move on
We-
from
Alright,
it.
so let's
We
go
can't
back
really
into my
beat it
Canadian
out.
mode. That's we did poopy stuff and we did carnal knowledge bad sometimes.
Okay, so you guys are saying you were all pretty frustrated with the way you guys were playing today. I do assume you guys are just going to kind of move forward, try to practice through it, and we'll be seeing more of you guys. I know you mentioned something about leaving the team. Was that a real threat, or are you just being
We're not
salty?
sure yet, but I don't have to carry through with it. So either way, I don't have to prove it.
Yeah.
Can I ask though,
What-
why would you say that? Wouldn't that bring a negative impact on the team and make you perform worse than if you would just keep it to yourself and move forward, hoping it gets better?
The problem is there's an inside joke behind it because we were talking about something earlier today and I referenced that, so everybody pretty much laughed. What
Okay.
you're really going to get to look for from Cookie Cutters is we've done a lot of practice, we've done a lot of planning, but a lot of the games we played today, we played outside our character element, and we've had people training on different characters to feel more comfortable with them. So as soon as we get those locked down, as you noticed, we've handled ourselves extremely well against other teams. Even when we lose, it's generally by moments. So you're going to get to look forward to seeing much more competitive games out of us by the end of the season. We'll probably be in the tournament, and we will probably be making people cry, which we're looking forward to.
I do like that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how are you guys feeling? Because you were saying you're just playing terribly today. I hate to keep bringing it up, but you brought it up first. So, you
Hey,
guys, you,
I'll call a spade a spade. When we play poorly and fail our cardinal knowledge up, we're gonna make it work next time.
so you were saying, so basically, it's just you guys were making silly mistakes, and you just need to try and lock down that from happening. So it's not necessarily like a communication error. It's more just paying better attention while you're playing.
You know, it's hard to say. I think everybody just didn't have a good enough breakfast today, and that's the biggest blame for it.
Well,
Breakfast is an important meal, kids. If you're watching this, pay no attention to what I said before and focus on the fact that I told you breakfast is important.
all right, so you heard it here first. Cookie Cutters looking for the Wheaties promotion.
Well, I'm gonna wrap that up.
Thank you for having us, and maybe next time, because this was a lot of fun and you guys laughed a lot, maybe you'll have us back.
I'll definitely I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Tip your waitresses. Have a good day.
All right, Guinness, we look forward to seeing you guys and Cookie Cutters going forward in the league. Of course, I am Septimus. This is Mr. Saiyan. We just saw a fun Freelancer United Nation versus Cookie Cutters. Took a split game. That was Guinness we had in here from Cookie Cutters. We will be taking it off now. Anything you want to say, Mr. Saiyan?
I do not.
All right, then. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Please remember to subscribe us if you enjoyed your time here today. We're trying to get things to be a little bit easier to find. Just need that custom URL. And Twitch, I believe, is still going on.
It finished
it
just a while
finished.
ago.
Okay,
For
well,
the first time ever, the YouTube is
all right. Well, we actually
the
took
Twitch.
longer than the Twitch today. So you can also find Prep Phase on Twitch at twitch.tv/PrepPhase. Of course, be sure to check out the Prep Phase website at prepphase.com. Great guides and everything there, and you can find out more about the league. If you're not sure if you want to join the league, everybody says just do it. It's a great time, and we hope to see you here in the competition. Everybody,
And
be
even though you may hate me, I love you all. Thank you for watching. This is Mr. Saiyan, and I am out.
All right, everybody, have a great one, and we will see you next week.